Hey there folks, welcome back to the People's University of Common Sense channel. This is episode 21. I am your host Tracy. Today we're going to talk about DOGE and the progress they've made. So let's get right into it. Alright, so I don't know what all has been reported actually in the news. I've been getting my information from X because there's a wide variety of reporting on there. It's not just the liberal media that you get off of cable news. So anyway, a lot of information that the liberal media just won't publish, they just won't talk about, is being reported by these independent journalists. And the one thing that is just, there's just so much waste, fraud, and abuse that has been discovered throughout the short time that DOGE has been active within the Trump administration. He started out with just a handful, a few analysts, engineers, whatever you want to call them, and now I guess he's up to around 100, and they just keep finding more and more stuff. And the one thing that is really, it's dumbfounding to me that there hasn't been an administration since, I don't know, it goes all the way back to probably Calvin Coolidge, to where an administration was concerned about reducing government overhead, minimizing that. And you got to ask yourself, well, why is that? You think that every administration, every president swears in to uphold the Constitution, and you think that, every one of them would want to be fiscally responsible and want to help the people, the citizens, the country out to be, as powerful as possible. And by doing that, we all need wealth. So it's just crazy that every single administration that comes in, whether it's Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. Just, you look back in history, just each one that comes in, there's bugs flying around me, each one that comes in, they're in, and then is there any cuts? They promise cuts all the time. We're going to reduce this, we're going to cut that. It never happens. Just government just keeps getting more and more bloated. And, it didn't seem like there was a big, concern or at least awareness of how much in debt the United States was. To me, my awareness was right after 9/11. And I think at that point, after the war started, we were probably, I think I remember at some point it was around 11 trillion, then it got up to 17 trillion. And I was just, and now where are we? It's in the 30s or almost 40 trillion. I don't know. It's high up there. Anyway, I wanted to speak about some of the wins that the DOGE administration has come up with. And wins in meaning finding this stuff, and then the Trump administration has to figure out what they can do to cut that fat, stop it. And I guess Congress has got to pass some of this stuff into law to stop the funding for this stuff, which is ridiculous. But if you look at what the federal government was established for, what their purpose was, it had nothing to do with spending money outside of our country or spending money for most anything. And it's just like, how did it even get to this point? But I just want to read off. I basically asked Grok, which is the AI tool within X, to provide me with the top 10 wins that DOGE has discovered and what they are. And some of these don't have a monetary amount, but you can just imagine, with with inflation and just the bloating of the way government does, that this is costing millions, if not billions in some cases. So I'm just going to start from number 10 and go up to what is considered the number one key. And then I think that at the end of this, I'll mention something. There's an announcement from the Trump administration. So I'll speak on that when we get to the end here. So number 10, this is climate change funding in Sri Lanka. Okay. So the DOGE highlighted that $57,000 spent on climate change initiatives in Sri Lanka. So why are we concerned about climate change in Sri Lanka? And climate change itself, that's a whole big liberal hoax anyway. So, but it's what a misuse of our taxpayer-funded money going over to Sri Lanka. Why are we giving money to Sri Lanka? So that they can do whatever with this climate change. It just, how does that affect us here in the United States? Okay, so the next one, number 9, DEI spending at the USCIS. So those reports that there's $36,000 spent on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives at U.S. Citizenships and Immigration Services, cited as an example of frivolous waste. It's like, yeah, the whole DEI, if you don't know what that is, that's the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's just been a huge flop throughout the United States and probably the world. It's a big push. It's trying to make things fair, but all it does is it picks out these particular groups and throws attention and money at them, while it is in essence, it's hurting everybody else, the commoner, which is the white male. Anyway, moving forward, number 8, the Council for Inclusive Innovation at the USPTO, which is the Patents and Trademarks Office. So DOGE identified that $3.4 million was spent on the Council for Inclusive Innovation. So again, it's part of the whole DEI stuff. So they want to have innovation for inclusiveness. Come on, that money doesn't need to be spent on that kind of crap. And then, yeah, so here's some of the other stuff. Is like, you've heard of, we've spent money on universities to, figure out, I don't even know what they're trying to figure out, but that they're spending money on the studies of shrimp on treadmills. And I don't know if you've ever heard any of that stuff, but if you do a search on wasteful money spent by the government, you'll find some crazy stuff that it'll just piss you off, because our money doesn't need to be going to any of that stuff. But here's one. This is just an example of where your money's going, and without DOGE, it would keep going there, and you wouldn't know. And do you care? So here it is. A congressional inquiry noted that DOGE efforts found that the Air Force spent $1,300 per reheatable coffee cup, totaling $32,000 just for 25 cups. So, even that's small, but they're spending money for reheatable coffee cups. Man, these wasps and stuff are going crazy around me. I need to do something about that. I'm going to. Okay. So I'm sure you've heard something in the news about U.S. aid. It's so explosive that there's so much money going that, and then it goes to the different agencies or whatever it's funding, and then they found that not all that money is even being spent by them, that there's actually getting kickbacks to those that set them up to get that money. So there's so much fraud and abuse within our own government that I cannot wait to see some prosecutions, and that's one of the big things. We got to see some prosecutions. So, the U.S. Agency for International Development, which is the USAID, has been a major target, with DOGE aiming to reduce foreign aid spending deemed wasteful. So, historical waste estimates that $261 billion in federal losses in 2012. So, just matters like they're finding all this waste, fraud, and abuse, and it continues year after year after year. And why hasn't there been any other administration until now that wants to uncover this? Questions to be answered. So there's tens of billions that could be involved. So we're just waiting for them to uncover this and make the cuts and save us taxpayers money. So, number 5, the Medicaid improper payments. Congressional testimony linked to DOGE efforts highlighted hundreds of billions in improper payments and fraud annually across the federal programs, with Medicaid cited as a significant contributor. While not precise DOGE specific figure, the broader context suggests billions wasted, potentially exacerbated by the rules of like the Biden's Medicaid streamlining policy. I don't even know. It's like they always say, they don't have money for this, money that. The Medicaid's running out of money. Social Security is running out of money. Well, it's not running out of money. It's just being given elsewhere so that you don't have that money. But of course, with the way the Fed will just print more money and increase quantitative easing, it's just wow. Number 4, Department of Education Research Office cuts. So DOGE cuts hundreds of millions of dollars from the Department of Education Research Office by terminating contracts. The exact amount isn't specified, but the scale suggests a major reduction in perceived wasteful spending. Number 3, and this one they don't have an exact amount because I guess some of the money is, you can't disclose what it's for. The Pentagon budget inefficiencies. The Pentagon's $850 billion budget has been targeted with historic findings like in 2015 Defense Business Board report suggesting $125 billion in potential savings over the 5 years through contract renegotiations and process consolidation. Specific DOGE findings including overcharges such as Boeing billing Air Force 8,000% more for soap dispensers, indicating millions of wasteful spending. So you usually talk about, you spend $500 on a hammer and stuff. Oh, it's not fake. When I was in the Navy, I know that they were spending, things were just expensive. Whoa! Things were just expensive. This is really pissing me off just reading this stuff as to where they've decided to spend money. And these are our elected officials that have set this up. So thank your congressmen and senators because and all the ones in the past, they're the ones set this up. So they're taking your tax dollars. So might be advisable to find out a little more about who you elect into those seats. Number 2, FEMA spending on luxury hotels for illegal immigrants. How about that? So rather than spend money on our homeless veterans, those who actually earned some of the tax funds that we give to our government, it goes towards illegal immigrants that will then do illegal voting and then help put in people that want to reinstitute taking money from you and giving it to someone else that doesn't deserve it. So DOGE uncovered that the Federal Emergency Management Agency spent over $59 million to house illegal immigrants in luxury New York City hotels in a single week. Wow. This flagged as a violation of presidential executive order, an example of misallocation of disaster relief funds. There's so many people that have broken the law here. I cannot wait to see some accountability and see these people arrested. It's like they're uncovering this stuff. They know who is behind it. Let's see some prosecutions. All right. So this one, there's no dollar amount, and you can just imagine where it even goes. But number one, the federal employee retirement processing in limestone mine. So this is so archaic, and they just keep going with it. It's like it's time to update and reduce the costs. But DOGE revealed that the federal employee retirement are processed manually in a limestone mine in Pennsylvania, kind of like Iron Mountain, one of them, employing over 700 workers, 250 or 230 feet underground to handle 10,000 applications monthly. This process is slow, costly, and outdated, with inefficiencies tied to the physical storage in manila envelopes with an elevator that limits throughput. So it's like they can only put so many envelopes down. They'll just, you can imagine how archaic that sounds. And we're still doing paper, everything there. It's like, that definitely needs to get advanced and go electronic. So, yeah, the elevator that limits throughput, while no exact cost is specified, the scale of this operation suggests significant waste due to its archaic nature. So you can just imagine, you got 230 feet below ground, you have these 700 workers that are handling these 10,000 applications monthly. Wow, just seems like it's just, oh yeah, let's just keep these people employed, let's give them a job, and let's just not change and upgrade to make things more efficient to save tax dollars. Yeah. So anyway, I'd definitely like to know what your guys' thoughts about all this waste, fraud, and abuse are. And what's your number one thing that you are pissed off about with the spending that they have going on? So anyway, now it brings me to the breaking news, the Trump administration. So apparently there has been something that has been uncovered, and it's some shocking information. So later today, the Trump administration is going to announce that. So once they announce that, I will come out with another video to discuss this breaking news. But be sure to check that out. And so anyway, if you like this information, please like and subscribe, hit the bell for upcoming notifications, and until next time.